Hey there! I bet you noticed the lack of videos lately. Or maybe you didn't, but let's say that you did. I've been out of the country for a couple weeks, and while my partner and I tried to pre-record some stuff, we were both kinda not feeling it, and then being apart for 2 weeks sapped away the little motivation we had to begin with. But while I was gone, here's all I've read and watched in the midst of changing between 4 planes and 4 trains. Roll intro! There's no such thing as an easy job. I needed an ebook I could download on my iPad to read on the plane because from prior experience, I know that 7-hour-long flights tend to feed you and put you to sleep all in the dark within 2 hours of takeoff, which is not compatible with paper books. I'll admit, I haven't read a physical book in a while despite being a book hoarder. Either way, when I saw the title of this book by Tsumura Kikuko, my inner work-exhausted self let out a preach, and I bought it. The reviews often mentioned the book was a tad boring, so this was my cue to buy it. There's a running gag on this channel that I like quote-unquote boring works, and this book fits right into it. Perhaps it's because I'm a deeply introspective creature, but reading the thoughts of someone who similarly doesn't have any passions in life and only wants a simple job in order to survive was really cool. I too think that many jobs will make your brain melt, and since lately I noticed there's a trend on YouTube to talk about how you don't dream of labor, as if anyone does, I thought I'd share this book with you. The protagonist is a woman in her late 20s who had to move back in with her parents after she burned out at her previous job. And now all she wants is a simple, boring office job. She tries being a surveillance camera observer, an ad writer, a comedy trivia writer, and even more, and she laments the stagnant state of her life as she trudges through all of those jobs. I could relate. I got mine off Amazon. Hananoi-kun to Koi no Yamai. I started reading Hananoi after Horimiya left a gaping hole in my heart, and this filled it right up. Now, it is licensed in English, but I bought all 8 volumes off CD Japan to read it in Japanese. Gotta practice the language, you know? If you know some basic Japanese, I think this book would make for some really good practice, and it's super sweet too. The story follows Hinase Hotaru, the clueless about love protagonist in the vein of Mei from Say I Love You, and Hananoi-kun, a pretty boy known for getting dumped by his girlfriends because he's too intense. And I mean some serious stalkerish behavior here. Nonetheless, the two start trial dating after Hotaru offers Hananoi an umbrella as he sits in the snow, alone after yet another breakup. The couple gets together from the very beginning in a sense, but the charm of the story is seeing Hotaru fall in love with him and then developing a healthy relationship despite the dubious start. I also think it's a nice depiction of young love where the couple takes it slow despite there being obvious moments where they both want more. I've been relatively precocious in terms of falling in love in relationships, but I imagine that for anyone who is not, having a first relationship like Hotaru and Hananoi would have been a great start. Also, she's so cute. She looks just like Tetsuya Nigo from Kirk on a Basket. I really recommend this one. Vagabond. I won't spend too much time on this because it's a classic and I'm a mere peasant who started reading this way too late in life. Super basic summary is that it's based on the story of Eiji Yoshikawa's Musashi, who was a real-life swordsman. I'm a peasant though, so what I love about this intellectual manga most is the manly men. And Kojiro. Oh my god, he looks perfect. I need to see Kojiro x Musashi fanfiction so bad. I have a ginormous bias towards men with good hair and no facial hair, and Kojiro is ticking all the right boxes. He's also a hoe, so I think it's about time he explores his sexuality some more with our favorite raggedy vagabond. On a slightly more serious note, Musashi's design reminds me a lot of Mifune Toshiro and Yojibo and Sanjiro. I think Mifune might just be the ideal live-action reincarnation of Inoue's Musashi. I don't know why I think that, but I just do. And I know that I'm right.
Well, Panda, that's because Mifune did play Musashi in the Samurai trilogy from the 1950s. Did you forget that we watched these movies?
I mean, it's possible I forget what my name is more often than not.
How do you forget the fact that the movie won an Academy Award for Outstanding Foreign Film? It was the first samurai movie in color. It was referenced in Kill Bill.
Okay, thanks dear. Moving on.
Abayo.
First Love, the one by Takashi Miike. First Love was my companion on the 7-hour-long plane to Europe, and honestly, it was great. Last time I took such a long flight, I watched Hibiki with my partner, and that was cool, but this time I was feeling like action. I picked this movie because I thought the main guy was hot, and then I saw Takashi Miike's name, and I knew it had to be good. But I would have watched it anyway, because the main character is hot. Leo is a boxer, but he has a pretty apathetic approach towards life. That makes me like him even more. He boxes because that's all he can do, but he doesn't seem to derive much pleasure from it. One day during a match, he's unexpectedly knocked out, and after a subsequent visit to the doctor, he found out that he has a brain tumor. Inoperable. Could die any moment. Wish that was me. Despite his apathy towards life, this isn't quite how he planned to go out. So when a girl is running away from a dude who's chasing her, Leo throws caution to the wind and kills the guy, steals the girl, and finds himself in the middle of a drug war between the Yakuza and the Chinese triads. You know, just your everyday thing. I'm not a huge action movie fan, but this one really touched my heart. The deeper themes and the fun action were amazingly combined, and I never got bored of watching it. We even get to see the gangster's moral code and how even they frown upon merciless, pointless killing. The one character who's a narcissistic psychopath is amazing. He's the root of all evil, but he's neither a moron nor a genius. It really goes to show the triviality of evil, which is a fancy term I learned in my college English class. I highly recommend this movie. I forgot that I was stuck on a plane as I watched it. Melancholic. Once again, courtesy of Swiss Air and their fun selection of international movies on a 7-hour flight, I got to watch Melancholic. This one is harder to talk about because I truly do wonder who the target audience was. The film is probably action meets slice of life, and that's already very contradictory. What this movie does again and again is bring seemingly contradictory elements together and see what happens as a result. But this isn't always a successful experimentation. We have our main guy Takehiko, and his way of interacting with the world is very awkward.
やっぱあれですか風呂が好きなんですか
そうだね。そう。
But it's this very specific Japanese awkwardness, so it's hard to really say why he is the way he is. He's a Tokyo Uni graduate, but he's never had a full-time job. He's awkward as hell, but he likes to drink, and he asks this girl out, and even invites himself to her apartment, and they
have sexual relations.
He seems to have no passions in life, but he's not bothered by it. He lives a quiet life at home with his suspiciously warm parents. I say suspiciously warm here with a hint of envy. And yet, he's oddly accepting of the fact that his new inconspicuous job at the bathhouse also includes him cleaning up blood after people are routinely murdered in said bathhouse.
It's a living.
I really want to say he's on the spectrum somewhere, but he keeps throwing those weird-ass curveballs that force me to simply diagnose him with being incredibly fucking weird. I will say that I did not find this movie to be realistic. The ending in particular seems to be from a whole nother dimension. But somehow, someway, I was intrigued enough to watch it until the end. I think the absurdity is what did it, but it's low-key absurd, so I don't think it will be making you go like, I need to turn this shit off. The main guy really grew on me because I have a soft spot for awkward guys with nice hair and glasses, I guess. So yeah, if this isn't something you're specifically into, it's probably a movie best left for when you're stuck on a plane. Like me. Conclusion. I did not include the yaoi works in here that I've read, but y'all know me by now, so you know that I read a lot of it during my travels. The next episode of Red Panda Reads will be all about my favorite yaoi tropes and my favorite manga I've read recently that conform to said tropes. So stay tuned, my fellow thirsty ladies. The next one will be spicy. I'll go cure my jet lag with some vodka and a 20-hour power nap. See y'all next time. Bye!